comes to online video game discourse, which we all know is very fun and wholesome and is only populated by people that genuinely care about the medium and aren't out there just to stir up drama, one topic that keeps on popping up again and again is the age-old dollar to hour value. What price makes a game worth it? For some people, this is $1 an hour. Others would say $3 and a bonus wedgie an hour. Hey, you know, I'm not here to judge, you do you. But I also think most people would say that this way of thinking kinda detracts from the artistic intent of the medium. I'm definitely in this camp when it comes to this topic, and I think each game should be viewed on its quality of content rather than its quantity. But then still, there are so many extra bells and whistles attached to this medium that even this way of viewing games is kinda fundamentally flawed. 10 out of 10 masterpieces with beautiful worlds, interesting lore, fun overall gameplay, and tons upon tons of content can still have annoying oversights, boring slumps, rough edges, and even mechanics/systems that are beyond frustrating. All of these little bumps, it just makes it overall really difficult to properly categorize what makes a game worth the price, but most importantly, also worth your time. And each person will end up with a different opinion/conclusion when it comes to this. With that being said though, this topic of money to hour value, for some reason, it has always stuck in the back of my mind, with the main question that always seems to linger being, what game provides the most quality content for its price, the cheapest dollar to hour value? Now of course, I could just get a 100% free game with no DLC or microtransactions and say that the answer is 0 big ones. But I'm talking about paid games, and for me, I think the answer has always been rather crystal clear. It's Terraria. And honestly, it's not even close. Now, I'm not saying that Terraria is the single greatest game ever created. For me personally, it would be in my top 20, not even cracking the 10s. But what I am saying is that there is so much value packed within it, so much content that has been refined and polished over the years that the price tag it's going for is you basically scamming Real Logic and then pooping on them. Alright, look, let me explain what I'm talking about a bit better. Here are 5 of my most played games of all time. Team Fortress 2 is free to play, played it for 2,000 plus hours, but I've also spent a lot of money on cosmetics in this game, more than I would like to admit. You don't get it, okay? I had to track the 2 sentry kills I got with my strange gunslinger. I just had to spend 275 euros on this. RuneScape is my most played game of all time, sitting at a comfortable 3,000 plus hours. But this game does require a monthly subscription for you to properly play it, and the price of said subscription has sadly slowly increased over the years, and yes, they do add up over time. Then you have Don't Starve and The Binding of Isaac, both sitting at around 700 hours, but these games have had multiple DLCs, plus not to mention that you had to buy a newer version of each title to get the new content. Don't Starve together also has quite a lot of purchasable cosmetics. But then you have Terraria. I've played this game for about 900 hours over the last 13 years, bought it for 10 bucks back in 2013, and that's it. There are no purchasable cosmetics, no extra DLC, besides a $5 soundtrack you don't even need to buy since you can just look the songs up online for free, and that's it. Like, that's the end of the story. And you know what? I'll give you some more examples of games I've played a lot while comparing it to their price to really rub it in. I've played a lot of Fortnite in its heyday, over 1,000 hours in total, but I've also spent quite a bit on Fortnite. Had to get those V-Bucks, to get the incredible gassy skin. Cookie Clicker comes close when we're talking about how many hours I've pumped into it, and it's only $5. but it's cookie clicker. This game is cheating. I also hate it from a fundamental level. It just wastes your time by making you unproductive as shit. Shoot it and then bury it into the dirt. Call of Duty, now this one is kind of cheating, but there are titles in this series that I've played for a respectable amount of time. Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3 being the real standouts. But all of these titles are also quite expensive, not to mention that the modern titles in the franchise are filled to the brim with god-awful cosmetics that are comically overpriced. And of course, the big one I know a lot of you are going to mention, Minecraft. I think I've definitely played this one more than Terraria, but this game is also a bit of a double-sided coin. Yes, Java is fine and mostly clean, but Bedrock? Ooh boy, Bedrock, that's a rabbit hole I would rather not dive into. Everything just kinda circles back around to Terraria being the winner when it comes to this subject. And if you do the math, that is just a bit over a cent every hour, even if you only have 60 hours in this game, which is an average playthrough give or take. That's still only 20 cents an hour. Back in the heyday, when arcades with a hot new toy, a single round of Pac-Man would still be more expensive than a single hour of Terraria gameplay. And that is without inflation. Like, come on, that's kinda nuts. And to add insult to injury, they released this game in 2011 for 10 bones, and now in 2026 it is still only 10 bones. Matter of fact, it's actually cheaper. It's 24 cents cheaper in Europe specifically. Not sure why, but you know, I'll take it, you know, I'm not here to complain. And the thing is, right, Terraria didn't just launch and call it a day like a lot of other titles out there. Still, to this day, it's getting consistent content updates every year or so, making it fun to jump back into every once and again. Most recently, for example, the Bigger and Bolder update was released, and although it didn't bring in a lot of brand new content, it did refine and polish a ton of pre-existing ones. The crafting menu is a lot easier to navigate now, they made summoning progression a lot smoother, a bunch of weapons have been reworked and tweaked, they added the banner menu, stopping them from cluttering your inventory, special seeds can be combined, now letting you create some funky worlds, plus they even added an official skyblock world type. And I know I said this update didn't bring in a lot of new content into the mix. Well, that's somewhat of a lie. They still added 650 plus items, most of which is furniture. But just think about it for a second, okay? Ponder for just a minute. A 15-year-old game is still getting consistent content updates for free. No shady business attached to it, no purchasable cosmetics or bonus DLC, no EULA you need to sign saying that you don't own your soul anymore. 15 years of straight 100% free support for a game that's only $10. Ladies and gentlemen, the most mentally unstable and insane company to be ever conceived. This simply shouldn't be a thing. It is unsustainable, and the only reason why Terraria is able to get away with it is because they hit it big. You know, I got a challenge for you guys, okay? In the comments of this video down below, name any other long-running game that gets consistent content updates for free, without any bells and whistles attached to it. No purchasable DLC or cosmetics. And you can't say No Man's Sky or Stardew Valley, because, like, I'm pretty sure these three are the only examples of this. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? I do not hate getting things for free. Fact of the matter, actually, I like it, just like any other functional human in society. Free things are awesome, and I have a huge amount of respect for Relogic for still supporting this game when they simply do not have to. But the way I see it when it comes to any piece of entertainment online, if the product you are offering is of high quality, if everything is done right, it's priced correctly without any shady schmuck attached to it, I honestly want to give you my money. I want to support the many wondrous and creative works people put out there. I think as quote-unquote gamers, live service titles have definitely poisoned our brains. We are so used to getting free consistent consistent content drops and updates, balance patches, quality of life features. We have simply grown numb to it, but I think it's important to remember that most ongoing free-to-play games come with a caveat. And that caveat is that they are really expensive to get invested in long term, like really expensive, often more expensive compared to premium titles. Yes, Fortnite is completely free to play, but if you want to express yourself in the slightest, it's gonna cost you a pretty penny. Goddamn Call of Duty is out here offering you a King Kong melee weapon once you bought 4 $20 bundles. You are paying $80 for a melee weapon in a game all about shooting guns. Like, what the fuck are we doing? And then still, a lot of these titles end up being financial failures, firing thousands upon thousands of developers every year. All of this goop, all of this stinky, slimy mucus, it just makes me appreciate Terraria even more. Through thick and thin, the devs have kept their chin down and focused on making the core experience of it as polished and refined as it possibly can be without charging you a single extra penny for it. $10 up front, and that's it. You just gotta love it, man. On the other side of the spectrum though, I also understand why most ongoing and live service games charge for their content. It is completely understandable wanting your company and or studio to stay afloat and try to make a profit. As long as you aren't greedy about it and treat your customers with respect, I am rooting for you. Basically, don't do an EA. Like, it's really simple. But this is why Terraria is in a league of its own. They don't just treat their customers with respect, they treat them as kings. And that says a lot. It shows that they truly respect their fans and that they love what they're doing. All that I'm truly trying to say though is that the way Terraria handles their business is not the norm and it shouldn't be the norm. But I also think that's awesome. It's cool that they are still motivated to keep on going, to refine a game until there's nothing left to be refined. And so far, I haven't even discussed the core gameplay loop itself, which by the way, is fun as hell. Like, this is an addicting ass game. I mean, that's literally what I called my last Terraria video, but once you pick it up, putting it down becomes a challenge in itself. You just get so sucked into it. There have been many times over the years where I'm about to stop playing, but the game has such a strong grip on me that I end up pumping another hour into it, quote unquote rounding things up until I realize what I've done, and then it's 2 o'clock midnight, you know. Good job ruining your sleep schedule, idiot. The reason to why it is so addictive though is because of its progression. There is always something to do in the world of Terraria. A new accessory to find, a weapon to craft, NPC to unlock, a boss to defeat, like a goddamn house to be made. Oh, come on.
What's wrong?
On the map, the base looks like a penis. Why you?
That's what you would have wanted.
Every single fucking time, man. Why? Oh my. Every second you are playing this game, there is something to go for, which always gives you a concrete goal, something to motivate you to step on the gas. You keep cycling through equipment, slowly upgrading your armor and weapons while expanding your bases bit by bit. The progression of Terraria is just so silky smooth, and Real Logic has done a phenomenal job getting rid of a lot of the frustrating bumps it used to have. Like, I truly can't think of a single thing I dislike about it, only small nitpicks. I will say this though, I do think the game is bordering on feeling bloated. There are a lot of blocks, items, equipment, and that equipment has multiple variants of itself that actually do the same thing. It can feel confusing at times, but surprisingly, again, Real Logic has done such a good job trying to remedy these problems. Inventory management, for example, this is something a lot of games struggle with, especially survival ones, but Terraria, so many little quality of life features over the years has turned it into a really competent and well thought out system that's actually fun to engage with. I do think a few bosses don't really add a lot to the core progression. The collaborations, while cool, sometimes feel a bit out of place. The pirate NPC is still pointless. Like, at least the golfer gives me a funny minigame to muck around with. What do you do? Sell me sail walls? Okay man, whatever. Probably the biggest thing Terraria gets criticized over though is it being a wiki game. Because there is so much shit, it becomes hard to keep track of it all. They have put systems and mechanics in place to help you avoid using the wiki as a new player, like the bestiary where you can read up on enemies and what they drop. NPCs give you hints on what to do next, like the guide whose sole purpose is to show you crafting recipes, which comes in handy way more often than you might think. But eventually, yeah, you are opening the wiki of this game. Is that a bad thing though? Like, I personally don't think so. To be fair, I think there's a sort of magic charm to a well fleshed out community wiki. It's like all the fans came together and made a big journal that includes a bunch of hints and tips. I can understand why someone wouldn't really vibe with a title like this though, where you have to continuously open a web page to learn about items and mechanics. But some of my favorite games of all time are wiki games, and I never really found that to be a distracting aspect of them. By the way, if you're gonna use any wiki for any game, please, for the love of God, don't use the fandom one. It's complete utter garbage compared to wiki.gg. So far though, I've talked about the many different aspects of Terraria. Their business, the main gameplay loop, their update structure. But what I think is the most impressive part about this game is that it never lost track of its original vision. Almost every single ongoing game and or even franchise gets lost in the sauce when it comes to this at a certain point. They lose track of what made them special. Their quirky bits get shoved under the rug to make the product more, I don't know, approachable, easier to digest, and some of the charm of what made it special to begin with fades away. Dead Rising 4 getting rid of the time limit, Battle for Neighborville removing variants, TF2 butchering its art style, Resident Evil 5 and 6 leaning too much into action to the point that it becomes comical. Even Minecraft in some ways kinda lost track of its original vision, like replacing all of its classic sounds and textures, which this one doesn't really hit me personally. I think Minecraft is in a very good state at the moment, and I mean, when it comes to the visual changes, you can super easily change them back with a resource pack. But I get it, people hold these aspects of games close to their heart. There is something special about them, and even in some cases, it can hit on a very personal level through nostalgia. Seeing that aspect of a game be scrubbed away feels like the devs think it's disposable. But for Terraria, I mean, sure, some of its original charm has been lost to time, but if you look at the overall picture, the whole package, I think the current version of the game is an objectively improved version of its original release. Hell, I would even say that each new edition of it is better than the last. The game is overall just way better realized and polished. And to satisfy the old fans, Relogic has even put systems and mechanics in place to make them happy. Dungeon Brick, for example, got a big facelift in 1.3, leaving the old, crusty texture behind. But then in 1.4.4, they introduced Shimmer, and if you throw said Dungeon Brick into Shimmer, it will transform into the old texture, so you can use it for building. That's such a genius way to tackle this subject. And if you're really not satisfied with the game's direction, maybe because you think they do too little or too much, mods got your back, baby. This has to be one of the easiest to mod games out there, and there are so many packs out there that have built up their own communities because of the fans that loved them. That's awesome. Even if I'm personally not a big mod guy, I can see myself playing the Calamity mod in 1,000 years. I can't help but respect it, man. Look, okay? The last time I properly played Terraria was in 2020, when I did my original review on it. I did try to play it again with Cyber in late 2022, but sadly, we never ended up finishing that world. It's just kinda stuck in early hard mode for the rest of time, but we did have a banger base though, like you can't argue with that. To be honest, ever since this video, over time I started to see the game less favorably, seeing its shortcomings more and more. Like, I never thought it was bad, but I guess I appreciated it less the more time passed. Then the Bigger and Bolder update released this year in 2026 and introduced a slew of new achievements, one of them requiring you to beat the game on a For the Worthy world. So what I did was beat it on a Zenith one instead. Which is like 3 times harder, by the way. Died over 1,000 times. In case you don't know, here are all the rules of a Zenith world. Yeah, it's kind of a lot to say the least. But you know what? Out of all the playthroughs I've done on this game over the 13 years of me playing it, this was my favorite one. Struggling myself all the way to the top, getting my ass whooped, prepping for each boss, and then finally beating them. Man, it's just such an awesome feeling. It's so fulfilling seeing your hard work be rewarded. I truly have nothing really negative to say about this game, and the only thing I think that should be improved are like very small nitpicks. So let's go over a few of them, okay? Well, why not? The banner crafting menu is a big upgrade compared to what we had before, but it's still kind of a mess to sift through. The fact that there is no mechanical version of the Brain of Cthulhu feels a bit jarring if you're playing on a Crimson world. Roller skates just outclass every single other mount out there. They even replaced the need of getting a better minecart. The main grappling hook and the hook item itself should serve more of a purpose. It just gets completely overshadowed by the gem variants. The Frost Legion event doesn't do much for you, even if you're playing during the Christmas period. It's just kind of a nothing burger. And if you're about to create a new world and click on the seed icon, this line is off by 1 pixel. Honestly, Relogic? Kind of embarrassing. You should be ashamed of yourself. But overall, this game is just such a banger, man. I am wondering when they will say, we had our fun, but it's time to move on. I don't want this game to become overdeveloped, which it's something it's already kind of running into. Plus, it would also be cool to see Relogic tackle a new game, something fresh. I kind of don't want them to add more bosses. I don't want them to lengthen the game past Moonlords. But what I would like to see is just small adjustments to make the overall flow better, and it seems like that's what they're focusing on. But for now, if you got 10 bucks laying around, which I know almost every single one of you guys do yourself a favor and just buy a copy of Terraria. This game is just such a blast, man, and I love it. I love it to bits. Yeah, that's it. Oh, actually, there is no painting with a funny fish on it, okay? This one doesn't count. How am I supposed to fish in this game while wearing my fish outfit, gobbling fish up if there is no fish painting? Relogic, this game is broken. Fix your shit.
Please subscribe.